G'day guys, John here from Jack Sarge Painting. On the table at the moment we've got the a project that I've just finished this morning. These are Knuckleduster, all Knuckleduster miniatures. You may recall in a previous video I did a Knuckleduster commission, which was great fun, and this one was a great fun as well. So we've got a variety of characters. This time we've got some Plains Indians as well in the mix over at the back there, and some quite instantly recognizable movie characters, some more so than others. This one that a little bit less recognizable, but yeah, the others are particularly you can see on what should be the left of screen, John Wayne's Rooster Cogburn character. So we'll go through them, have a look, see if I can get it to do a bit more foreground focus. Bit too busy in the background for it. Okay, might have to be content with that. Okay, so I've referenced my customer. Paul sent me a lot of useful stills from the movies and things, and I did a bit more digging of my own as well, with the horse colors and things like that, like trying to have a look at some other stills. And because sometimes with horse colors, depending on the way it was photographed, they can have slightly different look to them. Same with any colors, you know, depending on the time of day and that sort of stuff. But I think that's a cracking, bit hard to see under there from this distance, but he's got the eye patch, he's got the reins in his teeth, a gun in each hand, charging along. Really nice sculpts again from Knuckleduster. A bit of clean up on some of them, but mostly very clean. So that's him mounted doing his mad charge. Here's John Wayne, Rooster Cogburn on foot. Again, you know, I've tried to model the colours from the movie as best as I could see, looking at various stills. So he's got the eye patch. Oops. So there's him. Now this figure next to him, we think it's meant to be his companion, John Wayne's companion in the True Grit movie. The costume is slightly different, but and Knuckleduster tends to change the names. It may be meant to be someone else, I'm not sure, but my customer initially thought it was, is it LaBouffe or something like that? Anyway, it's the marshal or whoever he was, or played by Glenn Campbell in the True Grit movie. Now, the stills I've seen, he's mostly got a jacket that's the sort of colour of his waistcoat. He's got like a duster type of jacket, but not a long one. But this guy's got a waistcoat. So I've given him a shirt colour that seems to be about what he's wearing in the movie stills I've seen, and just tried to keep approximately with that as far as the colours, just assuming that that's the Glenn Campbell guy. I could be mistaken, it might be meant to be someone else, but Paul thought it probably was him. Now here we have another Clint Eastwood character. Now what I know that I think the surname's Money, is it? Anyway, but I think it's from the film Unforgiven or something, I think. Sorry about the focus, guys. I'm not sure where it's finding its focal point at the moment. There will be stills at the end, like normally. So so again, it really does look very Eastwood like, very thin, you know, creased face, you know, that later Eastwood, his later westerns, with the sawn off shotgun. There he is. So yeah, I think that's from Unforgiven, I think. Next we have, I believe it was Alan Ladd, who played Shane. So when you look at the stills, he's fairly monotone with his buckskins and stuff. I've tried to vary it up, making the hat quite a bit lighter, and there's some sort of subtle shading and things like that and highlighting on there. And he has the sort of the black belt and holster with the shiny silver buckles and things on it, decorations on it. So yeah, that's from Shane. And then you have Chuck Connors. Again, a pretty good likeness of Chuck Connors. There are again different stills that have him in slightly different costumes, often with the denim jeans on, and sometimes with a like a beigey coloured shirt, and other times with this sort of chambray shirt, depending which photograph you look at. So I've gone with the sort of chambray shirt and the jeans. But yeah, I think they've done the face really well on him. So he's the rifle from the show, The Rifleman. That's him there. Now, other guys, we've got James Garner, the late James Garner, as Maverick here. And again, looking quite splendid. Gone for the black waistcoat and the black necktie. Tried to sort of vary up the tones of black that I've used. And he usually tends to wear these sort of quite pale trousers. He's got a nice fob for his watch there. Very smart looking. His white shirt. Yeah. So there he is. And now this guy on the end, this is Billy the Kid. And I believe it's based on, I think it's from based on the Young Guns movie, I think. Someone will correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think he was played by Emilio Estevez. I think, I'm not sure, 100% really, but yeah, rather than, it's certainly not based on the most recent Billy the Kid adaptation. I imagine when this figure came out, that hadn't been released yet anyway. So this is most likely based on that version. So I've painted him up from what I could see, the stills I could see of him. So that's him. Okay, now over the back here, we've got the Plains Indians. Let's see if we can swap them out. There are these guys. Now these Plains Indians, they're fairly sort of generic mix. Obviously dismounted. Now from what I understand, Forrest, the gentleman who runs Knuckleduster, was sort of inspired by illustrations in the Battle of Little Bighorn book. I think it might have been the one illustrated by, is it Richard Hook or something? And that was an earlier Osprey title on the Little Bighorn. I think there's been more recent ones since. But so yeah, my customer kind of left it up to me as to how I wanted to tackle them. I have painted Native Americans before, but they have been mostly woodland Indians and more East Coast Indian Native Americans from an earlier period. But I was able to use the same skin tone recipe that I worked out for that those years ago when I started painting them. And I'm really happy with it. I've modified it slightly with the addition of another shade color. But I'm happy with it as a skin tone. yeah, it seems to work quite well. So I looked at now for the shield design, my customer sent me some images of like eagle or bird shield designs. So I took sort of inspiration from that and did my own kind of version of that. I have some Old West books here, a couple of Old West, the Time Life series. So I had a look at the volume on called The Indians, and then there was another volume called The Soldiers, which has a bit on the Battle of Little Bighorn, especially towards the end. So I was having a look through that. Most of the illustrations are black and white, but there's it's just good to look at the decoration and things like that. Now you'd have to get quite close up to on some of these to see properly, but there is on some of their items there's some, like colored beading and things like that. Some of the moccasins and things like this sheath knife here, knife sheath, has white, red and blue colored beads in a pattern on it. And there are other places he has beading on his arm sleeves here with patterns on them. There's beading on this guy's knife. There's some beading on the guy with the shield down over his shoulders. And some of them, like I say, have got little beading, sort of suggested sort of beading on their moccasins. Because when you look at, I looked at a lot of paintings for inspiration from modern day artists who've attempted to recreate scenes from the Little Bighorn, and obviously done a lot of research, as well as pictures from Osprey titles. Plates that I could find on the internet. I couldn't find them all, but yeah. But so it's like a conglomerate of various influences and ideas and picture. You know, I saved several pictures to keep referring back to give me ideas. So yeah, quite pleased with how they turned out. I haven't gone heavy duty on the war paint because I spent quite a lot painting the skin tones, which I tried hard to get faces right. And I know sometimes you could get like full face war paint, but also a lot of the pictures showed some guys with no war paint at all, others with a very minimal amount, and not all of them had like the full face painted or that kind of thing. It was a real mixture. So yeah, I've got, this guy has got a yellow stripe across his forehead, which actually took inspiration from a plate in an Osprey book. This guy's got some stripes vertical down his face and then across his chest. But apart from that, I've just let other sort of little bits of decoration sort of add interest and try to do a good job on the faces and the skin tones. I didn't want to hide it completely with paint. It's interesting, this chap here on the end, the actual face reminds me of the actor who played the chief back in was it in the 60s, was it, the old show F Troop? It's just his face, just something reminds me of that actor. Yeah, so pretty pleased with these. I'll swing them about so you can have a look. You might better see the beading a little bit better on this guy. There's actually a number of colors there, but it is hard to see this distance. Okay, so yeah, so he's got, I mean, he's got a patterned bag over his shoulder, as well as these beading extending down over his shoulders, and various decorative feathers and things. This guy has a really interesting bow that the sculpt is based on. There's a Richard Hook illustration with this guy with this very interesting ornate bow with all sorts of feathers and doohickeys hanging off it. And there are a number of illustrations, because the Little Bighorn was actually like a confederation of peoples, of tribal groups, who were sort of banding together to fight against the 7th Cavalry. You have a lot of different styles. I mean, it was a bit like sort of other cultures where you have individualistic sort of warrior things. Yes, they fought together, but there was this very much individual warriors, the naming, the way you wore, the paint you wore, the way you dressed, the name you took, all that sort of stuff. But there seemed to be a number of guys in illustrations, paintings I saw that had birds on their heads. Like, and I don't know if these birds were made of wood or they were some sort of form of taxidermy or what, but they actually had these birds on their head. I don't know the details of it, but yeah, quite interesting. So some of them, you know, in some of the pictures they look kind of brown and stripy. Other ones are sort of bluey grey. But anyway, so I've given him one of those, and he's got this really interesting bow with lots of things hanging off it, and what appears to be a metal point on the end, a spear-like point. So very interesting. So here we go. There's another guy with his bow. A number of them have got these sort of silver armbands, which was something that I used to see when I was painting the woodland Indians from further out east as well. It was quite common for them to wear decoration discs, silver discs, or silvery looking armbands. And this this rifle that this chap on the end has got is actually based from, I saw the pictures in one of my books. There's this studded work on the butt of the rifle and up the rifle itself, and it's actually based on a real artifact that I believe is held, I think, in a museum or something somewhere. That was one of the weapons used by one of the Native Americans at the Battle of the Little Bighorn. So that is a really nice touch to include that actual weapon. With the studs, the bronze sort of studs in the stock and that. So it's pretty cool. So there you go. Yeah, lots of little details that are hard to spot, like but little coloured beading and things down in the decorations. Oh, sorry, I don't know if you can hear that. My son is just grinding some coffee beans. Must be nearly time for coffee here down in Tasmania. Alright guys, so that's them. A delight to paint these Knuckleduster miniatures. They do present quite a challenge because everyone is different, and I'm doing my best to look to reference pictures to get it about as right as I can. But yeah, I'm pleased with how they turned out, and hopefully Paul will enjoy them as well. And looking forward to see what he and my other customers send me next. I've got some more Dark Age stuff to be going on with here for Paul over there. Not Paul, Mark, of course, in New Zealand. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. There will be some stills afterwards. Haven't processed the photos yet, so I hope they turned out all right. I took them before I did the video. So hope you enjoy that. Any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer. So I'm not sure what my next post will be, but we shall see. Who knows? All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye for now.